Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. It is evening here in London. Most of you will know this is Boris Johnson, and I believe it's his second PMQs from his desk at 10 Downing Street. And for those of you who might not have seen his first one, I'll introduce you into this because I think he does an extremely good job, and he's answering people's questions that have come in by text or email, whichever. This is Boris Johnson of People's PMQs.
And welcome to another edition of People's PMQs. And over 1 million people watched the last edition, and I think it's a very good thing to bring democracy directly to everybody at home. And
that's pretty good, 1 million people.
It's really great to be speaking directly to so many of you. I worry that people sometimes feel disconnected from politics, and this is a kind of answer. So let's get on with it, and we're going to go first to the questions, which are some pretty tough questions we've got this week, but very, very important questions for our society. First one is from Rosie Downs, who asks about homelessness, and she says, the NHS, education and policing are all important, but equally crucial is making sure everybody has a safe place to call home. Will you commit to putting in place a plan to end homelessness, not just rough sleeping, once and for all? And I can tell you, Rosie, that I totally agree with you. When I was Mayor of London, we had a programme called No Second Night Out, which was designed to end or help with homelessness. It was successful insofar as it went, but let's face it, this is a massive, massive problem for our society. And yes, I will be putting in place both a homelessness SAR and a national plan to deal with the problem. We need to bring together all the agencies, whether it's housing, local councils, social services, the police, everybody who's involved, mental health care services, everybody who's involved with tackling the multiple problems that can cause homelessness and indeed rough sleeping. So believe me, this is one of the priorities, Rosie, of my government. And we're going to go to the question about the NHS from Ian Chase, who says, can I confirm that my increased budget for the NHS, the government's increased budget for the NHS, will result in real terms extra spending? And the answer is yes. It is profoundly important that we spend on the people's priorities, and that's why I announced another 1.8 billion to go to 20 new hospital upgrades across the country, in addition to the 34 billion that we're spending extra on the NHS. And what we're asking the NHS to do is to make sure that goes to the front line, to doctors, to nurses, to reducing GP waiting times, to reducing the time you have to wait in A&E. And it's going to be hard work. There may be a tough winter ahead, but we're going to work very hard to make sure that funding gets right to the front line.
Now I want to say something about the National Health, because I have, many years ago, used the National Health, but after a ghastly, but it was very valuable, incident of being given antibiotics, I was so ill, I swore I would never ever use medicine from the doctors again, pharmaceutical medicine. And that pushed me right over into homeopathy. As soon as I was well, I found a homeopath quite close by, and from there I've studied the Chinese meridian lines. As a dancer, it was very important that I stayed extremely healthy, and this was, of course, I wasn't dancing, I had a family at the time, but still health was of paramount importance to me. And for 34 years or thereabouts, that was, I think, when Paul was 11, I think, 34 years or so, I have not seen a doctor other than a Chinese doctor, which is completely different. They use Chinese medicine or acupuncture. But what is very important is people get a choice, and they don't have a choice. They are not really, other than maybe in very unusual circumstances, don't have a choice to go and see a homeopath or go and see a chiropractor or a a Chinese doctor or and for acupuncture. Now, and this I feel is very unfair, because what you're doing is you're putting money into the pharmaceuticals, into big pharma's pockets, instead of actually people that have a completely natural way, whether that's naturopathy and nutrition, or all different ways, herbs, that's naturopathy. So I think that the National Health Service is very, very lopsided, very lopsided. And I would very much like to see Boris Johnson, once he's got us out of the European Union, the what I call the criminals that run the European Union, then to see him also concentrate on, he talks about schooling, but also concentrate on bringing under the umbrella the natural health practitioners, so that the people on little income, and that's going to change actually, do have a chance to go and see natural health practitioners, and all of the natural health practitioners should be covered. So we'll go on one more here.
I've got a question here from Emma Hart, who's a university lecturer in Edinburgh, and she asked me, are you anti-democratic? Brexit was designed to take back sovereignty for Britain from an authoritarian EU. How do you explain to the British people that you are now the leader of an authoritarian regime?
Well, I don't know where she got her thinking from. Bad press. She's obviously not looking at the right things. He goes on to answer.
Why is homegrown authoritarianism better than EU rule? Well, Emma, I must respectfully disagree with you in your characterisation of this government. What we're trying to do is implement the result of the 2016 referendum, the largest democratic exercise ever conducted in the history of this country. And I think what is making people a bit fed up in the last 3 years is that the politicians, us, Parliament, has so far failed to implement the people's will. And that is, I think, the real failure of democracy. And, you know, when people say, well, why have you decided to have this Queen's speech, is a very simple answer to that. We need to push on, as I've just been saying, with measures to improve our NHS, to improve our education, all sorts of things to take forward the people's priorities, putting 20,000 more police on the streets, tackling homelessness. That's what the public, I think, want us to do. But yes, of course, if opposition members of Parliament disagree with our approach, then it is always open to them to take up the offer I made twice now. Twice. That we should have an election, and there is nothing more democratic in this country than a general election. We've invited them to accept that offer twice, and for mysterious reasons of their own, they have declined.
They darn well knew they would lose. That's why they declined. I mean, really, the whole thing, when you think of the remaining Remoaners or moaning Remainers, it is absolutely shocking. And shocking, and I put out in a video before this, which was about the civil service, actually changed the language, that fraud, of the Article 50. And so if you look into my previous last video about that, that's fraud. That's the sort of thing our civil service and others, some of the parliamentarians, are behaving shockingly.
So we will get on, and we will come out of the EU on October the 31st, and we will also get on with delivering on the people's priorities. I'm going to go to Lovey Dillon from Gloucester, who asks a very good question about the negotiations currently going on over the backstop and over the withdrawal agreement. And she says, considering Parliament has blocked no deal, what is the current status of the backstop? Well, Lovey, the backstop is going to be removed, I very much hope. And that is, I insist, because that's the only way to get a deal. The UK Parliament will not accept the current withdrawal agreement. There's no way that is going through. But the crucial thing to understand is that we will not accept, I've seen a bit of chatter about this, a bit of stuff in the media about this, we will not accept either a Northern Ireland only backstop. That simply doesn't work for the UK. We've got to come out whole and entire and solve the problems of the Northern Irish border, and I'm absolutely certain that we can do that. But we're working very, very hard, flat out, to do that.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. We're about part way through. It's 13 minutes, 26 seconds, the whole of it. It's worth listening to him. You know, watch his expressions, watch his body language. It's pretty strong. So this is Katannya Alven saying, God bless, have a great day. Probably mostly English people that are watching this, but maybe not only, but it's 7 o'clock and our evenings are drawing in more. But God bless everyone, and I hope you've had a great weekend and have a wonderful coming up week, and look forward. Please click the like button, do subscribe, and comment if you want to. So I'll look forward to talking with you on my next video.